I saw the news that Bronzeman is getting announced. So let's go ahead and let's watch this.
I'm like, people are going to love it. What could an official version of a cardcore series look like?
Yeah.
If we ever want to do that.
Do you die often in old school?
I've never died. This feature's useless to me, actually.
Hello everyone, I'm Modiza, and welcome to a brand new monthly video series where we here in the Old School team will give you the chance to see what's coming up in the future, as well as looking back on a few things that have happened in the past, and a chance for us to dig into some details and conversations that you might not have otherwise expected. And to help me with all of that, I'm joined by Mod Kieran.
Yo, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Kieran. How are you doing today?
Good. Excited for this format to finally get off the ground and going, because I think it's something we've really needed.
Dude, this is good. This is very good.
Talking to the community.
They needed this video.
And being able to just casually talk about whatever hot topic is ongoing. I think it's something we need to do more of. So
almost like a updated or a fresher version of the podcast. A little bit more succinct, timely, and really allowing us to get into the nitty gritty of what's going on.
Guys, listen. Bronzeman is for new players. It's not for you. If you can't see that new players coming to the game is a good thing, you bullying them and calling them names and shit is not going to help the game. So if you want to do that, go ahead. But I'm just telling you, it's not good for RuneScape, you doing that.
On in the moment as opposed to...
Because I really like the podcast as a chance of just be able to speak to players a little bit more in a casual format, right? Like we are able to talk about random things, like even the balancing of birdhouses, right, came up in a podcast. And it's being able to just put thoughts out there, share some of our insights into how we think about certain topics without it being such a like formal blog and commitment and so on. So that's what I'm really hoping to also get out of this.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to getting the chance to ask you some questions. I've got some really important ones in here. But before that, maybe it's worthwhile actually that we take a look at what players can expect coming up in the future, as well as some changes. Now, to be clear, in terms of this video, it's very much a new format for us. So we are still trying to figure out how things are going. And it may be that there aren't always meaningful things for us to actually talk about. But I do think that this video is definitely no exception. We do have something meaningful. Do you want to maybe kick us off with what's actually changing?
First thing is, obviously, we've been talking about community bingo for a while, ever since we did Grid Masters last year. Really cool, you know, being able to enable clans and
we've been waiting
to
for
organize their own bingo events in game. I think it's going to be incredible. There's quite a lot of tech work to get it sorted, and it's proved like to be quite time consuming. It's going to need a little bit more time in the oven to get that all finished and sorted. You know, you've got to be able to get in groups. You've got to have groups all belonging to the same bingo event. It is just a bit of a minefield, and there's some amazing work that's been done by mod like us to start getting that in place. That's going to need longer. So not 100% sure where that might fall yet, but it's going to be moved back. And that actually frees up a bit of time to do something else for September instead.
Interesting.
I thought we were getting this Gridmaster a bit sooner. So it's cool that they've said it's going to be delayed.
So
now we know
a
not
little
to
bit of a
expect
delay to bingo, but we're not wasting the time that would have otherwise been spent. It's actually freed it up. What are we hoping to achieve that we might be able to share on today?
We've had a few amazing game jam projects over the years. There's been so many. Some of them we've not been able to get out and so on. Some of them have floated around for a long time. We see it come up and up again on Reddit. So one is the dog quest. I've seen it come up. People want their dog pets in game.
They do.
So there'll be a new quest. Small scale. We're not talking Blood Moon Risers for dogs here. We're talking a small scale Gertrude's cat nice wholesome vibes quest about dogs, and you'll be able to get your own dog in game. There'll be a bunch of different breeds. There's been some amazing artwork that we've already got in the bag from game jams and so on. That project's moving along really well, and we'll hope to get that out in September, which is incredible. I can't wait. We're getting dogs. It's just like one of those wholesome updates. I'm like, people are going to love it. But there's a secret, like sting in the tail.
Oh, a sting in the tail.
What do you get a kitten for in old school?
Chasing rats.
Oh. What else?
Oh, well, you might want to just trade them in maybe. I hear that they can get you some runes.
Yeah, not just because they're cute.
No
one, we all like the cats and the dogs for being cute, but they're also little death rune factories. Someone out in Darkmire.
Where's this going, Kieran?
Got a supply of blood runes for you.
Oh, goodness.
You're evil.
You can trade in, you can kill your dog for blood runes. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Look, I feel like it's so old school. It's amazing. So, Dog Quest, September. The other one is a bit bigger. and that is Bronzeman mode.
Let's go!
So in not the most recent Game Jam early this year, Modellena explored making Bronzeman a reality. Got some.
Modellena has been telling me, I was in an Uber ride with her and on the way to eat dinner with everybody at Jagex, and she was telling me about Bronzeman, and I was like, my eyes lit up, and I was like, dude, there's more people that want Bronzeman than just me. I feel like I'm the only one who wants this mode. And she's like, yeah, actually, it's I've been trying to push for it, and I'm like, let's go, Modellena. And I think that she might have actually been the one to get it added to the game for us. So this is gonna be sick.
Some of the tech work in place, a lot of the prototyping, and for those who don't know, Bronzeman is something we've seen creators play with as Twitch series, YouTube series, and so on. Much like kind of like Iron Man was before we made Iron Man official. Bronzeman is it's sort of a way to play where you still have to obtain items yourself, very much like Iron Man. So like you can't buy sharks on the Grand Exchange until you've got a shark yourself.
Okay.
But once you've got it, you can go and buy as many sharks as you want. So you get all that amazing progression that Iron Man has, but it plays in a little bit of a different way. And who knows? You might pull that really rare elite clue where you wish you got third age, but actually you get a bunch of potions. But all of a sudden you've got access to potions on a Bronzeman where you wouldn't be able to. So it could open up some really interesting strats and so on. But yeah, we really want to explore that. We've seen the suggestions come up time and time again for something like this being made official as well. So we're going to explore that as well.
Why Bronzeman?
Ultimately, like, the best modes come from the community.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think it's a lot harder for us to come up with the right ideas. Most of these things have proven themselves over years. It builds up the demand. We've seen it because people start asking for it. And as much as you can kind of do some of these things, with plugins or by committing yourself to follow the rules, we know it makes such a difference to having like an official high scores, be able to do it for real and so on.
It just doesn't feel the same, does it?
It's just not the same. So like the other thing is we had our quarterly survey just going, and we saw an absolute ton of players saying they would love to see Bronzeman come to the game. It's the most popular option on the survey out of the game mode options we put in there. So we know it's something.
You guys are trying to say nobody wants Bronzeman. Most popular option on the survey. Get owned.
People are interested in, keen on as a game mode. It's already mostly developed in a game jam. So it's a case of, well, put two and two together. If people want it and vote for it, I believe this week, Friday?
Yes.
The poll will go live. I say this week. We're recording this weeks ago. So I'm putting it in context for the viewer.
So it could be an absolute banger of a month then, by the sounds of it.
Banger of a month. So like as much as Bingo's moved back, banger over September still.
Yeah, I really like that we've taken the initiative to understand that something is going to take a little bit longer, and rather than just leave that, I'm sure that there were other projects that we could focus on getting ready and prepared for 2027, for example, and what will be an absolute stinker of a roadmap to be revealed at RuneFest, which we will wait and save. That's not going to be talked about here, but instead it's like, what can we do? And I know that people, maybe we're still waiting on other things from Game Jam. The Game Jam blog may or may not be out by now. We'll see. But it's really nice to see that actually we've taken that initiative, as I said, to kind of like fill some gaps.
Just while we're on this topic still, I think the other thing I really want to sort of talk about is like, we've got to get the balance right between game modes and content. And that's another great thing. Like Bronzeman isn't by itself in September. We want to put out some quest content. There'll be more stuff coming up shortly afterwards and as well. And obviously all the announcements coming at RuneFest.
I mean, like Bronzeman mode as well, it would be part of the main game, right? It's not a separate world. It's not a separate economy. It's create an account. You're in the same world as everyone else. You carry on, you progress, but it's just a new start, but in the existing worlds.
Yeah, fully integrated.
Amazing. That's really good. What about any other game modes in the future? Are there any other ideas that we can maybe share that you've been thinking of, things that you've had ideas on? I know the quarterly survey does have some options, and I guess that, it alludes to the fact that we've been thinking.
Okay, that is the full announcement, looks like, here for Bronzeman, but they just said that the most amount of people wanted Bronzeman, and that, we're going to be getting a poll for it later this week? Is that what's happening? Because, I'm not very good at listening. I think that's what he said was happening. So maybe later this week, there's no vote? Did he say we're getting a poll or not? On the 14th, this Friday, he said we're getting a poll, right? Okay. I didn't think I was crazy. Are you going to de-iron to a Bronzeman? No. I'm too far in my account to do that. But I will be making a hardcore Bronzeman if that option is allowed. I wouldn't want to... My thing is I wouldn't want to play another Iron Man. Like 1 Iron Man is enough for me. So the rest of my accounts, I would want to play Bronzeman because I still want to earn my own items. Like I don't want to wear something if I haven't got that drop yet. So I think that Bronzeman is like a perfect mode in between. It's really good for hardcores because most of the time hardcores are not like the first time players. So maybe there's a bunch of Iron Men out there who want to try a hardcore, but they don't want to do all the skilling again. The mode appeals to those type of people. And so it might not appeal to you, but I think that it appeals to a lot of people. Sard, your YouTube is lagging like crazy. Let me take down the YouTube stream and put it back on then. I don't know what to do. Let's see if that works. And I'll try to put it back up one more time to see if that fixes anything. Okay, we're back on YouTube, but I don't know if it's working. Anyways, guys, I think it's great that they are considering Bronzeman mode because it got a lot of votes. They're in the talks about it. I like this new podcast that they're doing to talk about the new future updates of the game. I know a lot of you guys don't want Bronzeman or you don't think it's a good mode or whatever, and that's fine. You guys can just realize that this mode isn't for you and that there's lots of people who really want this mode, and it's gonna be a good thing for RuneScape to have more options, and certain modes will appeal to more people, and this will have more people come to play the game. More people will get excited about it, like my friend Zaryu, who couldn't find prayer pots and he just didn't want to go farm them, so he ended up quitting, right? And so it's like this mode is for people like Zar, who can't find the prayer pots or don't want to go farm the prayer pots, but they want to go do the combat, right? And so it's a great mode for more people like that. Yo, shout out, thank you very much for the 6-month prime. I know there's a lot of people who will say like, oh, just play main, but guys, main does not give the same amount of joy as an iron when it comes to getting new items. Some people really want the fact they want these modes that were like they want the Iron Man pursuit of the items, but they don't want the Iron Man upkeep. And there are people who just genuinely enjoy combat, like us WoW players. We don't have to do any skilling. When we came over here to RuneScape, it's like, what is all this skilling? We don't have to do this in WoW, and a lot of people will immediately quit. So it appeals to kind of like WoW Andes who are just combat Andes that just want to do combat. And I think it's fine to have more people just doing combat in the game that are trying to skip over some of the skilling, but still want that feeling of that validation of being an Iron Man. It's weird to me sometimes, like, to tell you guys like what a mode that I would like or a mode that I know a lot of people were like, and then you guys would be like, no, that's stupid, nobody wants that. When we're like, we're telling you that we want this mode, we're telling you this would be the way that we would like to play the game, and then you guys are still like, no, It's so funny to me. Like, you don't have to play it. Like, I think UIM is a stupid mode, but like, I don't think it should be removed from the game. I think Green Helm is kind of lame too. I don't like that, but I don't think it should be removed. I mean, if people want to play that mode, like, go ahead. It is what it is. Can never be a bad thing for more people to play the game. That's what I'm saying, Wiley. I think this is going to encourage a lot more people to play the game. I think it's going to be a good thing. So all around, it's a positive thing here. So let's see what else is coming to the game.
Good. What about any other game modes in the future?
There we go.
Any other ideas that we can maybe share that you've been thinking of, things that you've had ideas on? I know the quarterly survey does have some options, and I guess that, it alludes to the fact that we've been thinking about them if we'd been putting them in there. But
the idea of like a roguelike mode of some discussion is obviously always comes up, and it's like, I'd love to find a way to make that work. So, if players have great ideas for how that could work, please shout. I think it's one of these things that's sometimes a bit harder to get off the ground if it requires a lot more extrapolation from the main game. There's also all the hot topic at the minute around cardcore.
True.
Which has been going on. We also, because that was all blowing up, that was also in the survey. And
dude, you guys keep saying Mod Kieran lost so much weight. Did he used to be... I've never known him to be like a thick boy. He's always kind of been like this. Did he used to be kind of a thick boy? He was thick AF? All right, he's looking good, man. W Mod Kieran.
And a lot of people were quite interested in it. So obviously, pre-recording this, I don't know where this is going out mid-August. I don't know where the cardcore series are going to be by then, but there's a lot of awesome streamers, video creators who have already jumped on doing cool things there. We're watching with a close.
I can't believe how many people are playing cardcore. That to me is crazy. Like, I think it's great. Like, run it up. If they're having fun playing the card core, dude, like, I think that's awesome.
And like keen to see where that goes. And
I thought that was going to be like a 1 week thing. And now everyone's doing it. Like Soup and Foe and Roydy. And I think I even maybe saw Elliot doing it, Skidler. Like, there's a lot of people playing this thing.
If we can really turn that into something amazing in future as well, like what could an official version of a card core series look like?
Yeah.
If we ever wanted to do that, I think there's lots of cool things you could start doing if you've got, imagine obviously you build the packs ourselves with a game mode in mind. You can balance things a bit differently. You can have different packs to choose from. You could do all sorts of interesting.
It's only good for early game. Oh, wow, Mod Kieran. Great job, man. Mod Kieran. You guys are right. He did lose a lot of weight. I never met him when he was a thick boy. He looks good now.
Things like, imagine, I'm just shooting out ideas, right?
Let's see you with hair.
What if like a full art version of the Twisted Bow? You got that card. It just gave you the Twisted Bow.
Okay.
Like, and then that's like that insanely giga rare pull is like all of a sudden a genuinely crazy hype moment for an account.
Yeah. It makes it into a
These are the sort of ideas going in my head. And so like, obviously we're doing Bronzeman in September. We're not going to look to do card core tomorrow, but it's on the mind. It's like, obviously watching these amazing series.
Any Sardaco emotes in the chat?
It's awesome to see how much it's captured like the imagination of players.
Do you think it will have inspired any of the designers to think about the way that they approach other pieces of content? And I don't think that like Cardcore, for example, is necessarily super fitting for main game. It would need to be its own mode. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking the likes of Leagues, or if we did another Gridmaster, is the potential there in this RNG aspect of unlocking things that we've not explored that we might want to.
Totally. I mean, we're always looking for cool ideas, especially with respect to like Leagues and what else we could do to spin a league in a different way. What could be another mainstream mechanic that we focus on with the league. You could totally imagine opening packs being a key part of a league. And
yeah,
I love what I really like about it is how it impacts routing.
Yeah.
You can't decide necessarily what to do next immediately because your next pack might completely rip up your plans and change it into a different way, right? Like, I just find it fascinating to think how many people can't do Cook's Assistant until they've got
chat, how is the TCG mode once you get to like the mid game? Because I feel like you just eventually unlock everything. Caesar, baby, all day. What's good? How you doing? Because like I'm gonna be honest, it feels like the packs are too easy to get. Like you just get so many packs. Like I have so many points. I have like millions and millions and millions of points, and I just stopped opening the packs because like it's just too many points. I feel like you get too many packs, so it needs to be maybe they need to lean it out a bit.
The way you're nearly maxed and you still haven't drawn the egg card.
Yeah, the egg card for it. Yeah,
it's because I'm max level.
Hilarious. Well, that's extremely exciting. That's so basically, the Sage has been scalping product and now needs to just offload all of these extra decks.
That damn Sage.
Yeah. Well, a very exciting potential September. If Bronzeman or Dog Quest, still to be renamed, are of any interest to you at all, check out the full blog that is linked in the description. And also make sure that you go and vote in the poll that goes live this coming Friday, August 14th. Now, before we get on to talking about the past, let's have a quick look at what's coming up in the next few weeks. Well, a large focus of the next few updates will be around the summer.
This is what Foe said. 52% of the cards. I have 52% of the cards unlocked. I'm in a poison rune dagger, black plate body, and steel legs. Okay, so it seems like it's not that bad. If he's still in the scuff gear, then maybe having half the card packs doesn't even matter.
Sweep up. We have a whole bunch of skilling as well as miscellaneous changes coming your way, and the highly anticipated changes to Chambers of Xeric drops, namely around those pesky
guys. We gotta get into Chambers today.
That's been a long time.
We gotta get in there today. That's why I'm streaming today, because they're changing decks tomorrow.
Yeah,
around those, and we really appreciate how passionate players were about changing them, and ultimately our initial reservations about changing it were like out of caution of like we're always naturally like averse to like shredding the price of items if it's going to have that impact. So something, people have seen the numbers now in the blog. Ultimately, it means some of these drop rates are going up 50, 60, 70%. These are significant numbers. Our initial desire is to be careful, right?
Yeah.
Players own those items. If you somebody who owns a full set of Ancestral, ultimately it's going to go down in price with this sort of change, right? Potentially quite drastically. And that's why we're like, how can we try and find a solution that really tries to protect that. And what players have really echoed back to us is like, rip the Band-Aid off.
Just do it.
Right? Like, make the change for the long-term betterness of the content and the drops, right? Ancestral maybe shouldn't have never been that rare. Twisted Bow should have never necessarily been that rare. And those are all valid. And we're all trying to find out how do we get to that without hurting anyone in the meantime. And perhaps what we better learn is actually sometimes you got to tread on those eggshells. Like you've got to break, what is it? Break some eggs to make an omelet, all of that. There you go.
Love it.
The other thing I touch on briefly is that you sometimes see a lot of discussion around consistency. And honestly, I just want to put out the views, like, I don't believe things should be consistent for the sake of it. I like consistency, nice and neat categories, and everything's nice and tidy. But the idea that like a mega rare should be the same rarity from every single raid, I don't think makes sense to me. And there's lots of similar scenarios you could come up with as well. Every raid's different.
Yeah. T-Bow is the most rare. That's what he's saying.
Some raids are harder than others. They're positioned for different audiences.
It's really hard to get T-Bow.
As much as it's nice and neat, I do think there are often reasons for things to not have to be exactly the same across them all. Same with pet drop rates. Like some pets can be easier than others. And that's something I've always believed. Lots of people default to consistency, and we see that come up in feedback. But I just want to at least share my view to some insight into why we don't normally always just default to that.
I think that's more than fair, and I hope that people start to realize, especially as we get into have chance to talk about these topics a little bit more, and you can share your views and your thoughts. I'm curious to understand around sweep ups generally. How do the team go about deciding what content goes into a sweep up? Do we, look at a theme, add a whole load of stuff together that fits that theme, and then add little bits as extras as we go on, or do these kind of like big themes take shape naturally?
So sweep ups, ultimately, hot topics, what are the community really looking for? Then a combo of what have we got time to accommodate? What do we think we've got really good solutions for? And if we don't really have good solutions, or we think it's going to take too long to do it, it's like, obviously we naturally avoid those ones. That does sometimes mean like things people really want to see.
Yeah.
We're not including the sweep up, and players can naturally react like, why are you not including this? I've seen, Reddit thread after Reddit thread after Reddit thread, and yet it's not gone in. Sometimes it's because we just genuinely don't feel like we've got a good answer, and we can't go to the community really without a proposal, right? We need an idea of how we'll actually tangibly solve it. And so you see obviously a lot of discussion around like Corporal Beast and Nightmare, and we've really struggled to potentially get some of these right. In terms of like next style drop system, and make it more Iron Man friendly and these sort of
next
things.
style drop systems are great.
In a sort of not drastically dissimilar place to like Chambers of Xeric.
The reason I like next is because the more people you bring, the less chance you have of getting the item, but it makes the fight easier. With Chambers, the more people you bring, the higher chance you all have of seeing a purple, but the raid scales. Right? And so the raid gets harder with more people. And so and then you could just do up to 100 people, and then the fight is not designed for like that many people being in the room, because then the burn spreads everywhere. So there's like diminishing returns with how many you could bring. With Nex, it's good because the less people you have, the more chance you have of getting an item, but it also makes the fight harder. So you should be rewarded for doing harder. But with Chambers, it scales with you, so it's harder to do that. So people have had to scale it and do weird things to Chambers to like make it harder with less people, which is why mega scales are like the meta, which I love personally. I think it ended up working out really well. But I do think that Nex is a really good game design.
Drops are so rare that
Nightmare gets touched every single sweep up.
And we touch it a little bit every single time, but like we've never got it right. But yeah, ultimately, it's time. What have we got good solutions for? But what's so good about the response to sweep up is like, realistically, this isn't a massive new content update. It's not the new Grandmaster quest. But seeing the response to sweep up every time, it's like, it's encouraging to do more.
Yeah.
And find more time in our schedules to prioritize actually. These are really meaningful tweaks and rebalances to the game that fix old content, give life to things that were struggling. Soul Reaper Axe, what a cool item. It's finally now in a place that I think players feel it deserves to be. And that's giving life to all 4 of the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, that now more people actually care to go and get that item.
The sweep up was amazing.
Right? Players get more out of the content. We
need more sweep ups. More sweep ups.
We definitely want to take that on board and work out how can we find more time to sweep up more things.
Yeah.
What would you call a winter version?
Oh,
summer sweep up, it's all
like the summer sweep up, the winter warm Winter warmer?
Winter warming.
Yeah, winter warming.
The winter
so I
warm-up?
actually do have a question though, right? In relation to this, right? You said about wanting to find more time to do more sweeping. Sweep up isn't a huge content release. You said yourself, it's not a grand master quest. It's not a new raid. It's not a new boss, but it still ends up being some of the most highly anticipated content by the entirety of the community. But is there a point where there could be too much of sweeping up? Or do you think that we just would never be able to reach that point?
Could there be too much sweeping up?
Yeah.
Can there ever be too much sweeping up? I mean, what if there's nothing left to sweep? What if the floor is clean?
Well,
We're not including this. I don't think there's too much sweeping necessarily, but obviously it's diminishing returns potentially once you've got to a lot of the meaningful stuff, right? The hot topics, things that people are really interested in. Ultimately, it's just a challenge of people also want content, you know? Certainly in the short term, it's difficult to pivot and do that quickly because we have plans, right? We have content that's being worked on today already. And so it's easier to change our plans a little bit further down the line and get the balances right between significant content, more changes and rebalances and so on. But like, you know, people obviously bring up skills like agility, and agility's got problems, you know. Some of the sweep up changes it's not going to necessarily fix it all, but it's able to make a meaningful impact just by changing some XP rates on courses, adding more awesome shortcuts that give you more of a reason to feel like I'm actually getting something out of my agility skill. That didn't take a huge new content update to do. So finding those things is great. A lot of hunters gotten a lot better with the changes coming up as well. So we'll find
Hunter
the right
got way
things.
better.
And keep telling us as well, you know, in the player base.
I think it's really lovely to see the community come together so much when it comes to the suggestions. I think one of the hardest things, I'm sure you resonate with it just as much though, is when we've set on what we were going to do and then suddenly a huge amount of support for something else that we just, quite frankly, as you've already called out before, can't fit in or don't have a great answer to. But I'd like to think that the reason why...
Hold on. Drewski says, it feels like the easy way out of development for them to go the route of if it's in your bank or on your person, you can trade it, meaning basically all potions are going to be obtainable without the herb lore level. How do you get a divine super combat without the herb lore level? How do you get a divine range pot? You can't PK. You can't PK in Bronzeman. You really worried about somebody getting a Sarah potion before they can craft it at 35? I don't think that's a big deal.
Summer sweep ups are so anticipated is because we do work as closely as we can with the players to understand, okay, you want more, let's figure out how we can add more. And speaking of more, the most recent sweep up went down pretty darn well, was the retrieving items from the gravestone.
No, the big guys, the bigger issues on Bronzeman is Yama shards, CG armor shards, Venator shards, the things that you need 5 of them or 6 of them to complete the set. Those are the bigger issues. I think that Yama shards should not be tradable on Bronzeman, but I don't know how they're going to deal with that. We need to maybe reach out and get an interview with the dev or something to talk about that and maybe ask the hard questions about what Bronzeman would be.
About that, it just came out as a freebie. What kind of like happened there? How did that come about?
That actually came from a game jam as well. Like Mod Arcane's been like slowly trying to get at that problem because like it sounds conceptually really simple.
Yeah.
It's something I've wanted for years. Like, how can we get it such that retrieving items from a gravestone just kind of puts you back exactly where you were, right?
Do you die often in old school?
I've never died. This feature's useless to me, actually. There's so much passion for this update, and it's like you're all just admitting you die a lot. It's like,
it's true.
Come on, if the gravestone's got bad UX, just don't die, right?
True.
But it sounds easier than it is to do. And so Mod Arcane first did the thing that like re-equips your gear. You remember that came out a little bit further back. And then this game jam managed to really approach the problem of putting things back where they are. But the difficulty is you don't go back to your gravestone with an empty inventory and empty equipment. You might have some things in your inventory. You might have equipped some gear. In fact, a lot of the time you need to take some food or take some gear with you before you get back to your gravestone. So it's quite difficult, but yeah, did it in the game jam and hence was like, all right, let's whack it in the sweep up.
All right, I'm going to sweep away from the sweep up and I want to move into something a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Blood Moon Rises.
Oh,
what a banger.
what a banger.
There
Chicana
he
right
is.
there, right there.
How are you feeling about the whole
banger it
reception
was.
to the quest?
I mean, I'm buzzing with it. Obviously, a huge amount of people have worked on this, right, across many, many different disciplines. But like, it's Moded's vision, really, to pull this all together. And I think Moded deserves a lot of credit for what he's managed to do with this story. And, you know, I know he's had these thoughts in his head all the way back to when we first did Taste of Hope. So we've gone quite a long time back. But that vision of that cutscene on the bridge, the cutscene, where, you know, Drakan kind of comes out and just insert a random swear word here, everyone up.
That's a great way of going about it.
Dude, but like, it's just so like, cool, right?
I got chilled from just remembering watching people go. So I've not done the quest myself yet, but I watched, I don't know how many people do it, but like, oh my God, that bridge scene, it really perfectly portrays the power that you're dealing with.
Yeah, I love it. But the thing is, it's one thing to have the vision for the story and that piece of storytelling, but then it needed new tech for the cameras. We couldn't move cameras via like a pan before. That was new. And we were used really well in this quest. Like the scene just before where it also goes down through the floor of the building and you see Venescula and stuff. I think it's so cool. It's so well done. But we've done lots of Grandmaster quests at this point. I think, you know, Desert Treasure 2 still stands up incredible, but it's so different to this. And I like how we can have all these different quests, do different types of things. This one was really cinematic. Desert Treasure 2 was all about the 4 incredible, you know, different boss encounters. But this quest wasn't shy of its boss encounters either. It just was a cinematic boss fight. It was also really difficult, but I loved the scene this on top of the castle, cool. The blood moon in the background. Yeah. It's so good. It just really feels good. Amazing. And Mod Rice has done incredible with the boss fight, tried a lot of new things. Like, I was quite nervous about it. Like, a lot of people was like, so difficult. Is this going to be okay? Is this right? You pair that up really well with the way we approached checkpointing. Mm-hmm. We've never tried checkpointing like this before. Death normally has a gravestone. You go back to it. In this case, free supplies. It's kind of you die and you go again. And that's much more like playing a normal, like, PlayStation game or something, right? Like, you die in, like, God of War.
Yeah, you just respawn.
You spawn back at your checkpoint, you go again.
I think the Drakan fight would have been hard if you had to, like, use normal supplies. But you could kind of just cheese it, brute force it. As long as you dodged maybe like 5 attacks and the whole thing, you would just kill him.
Our quest here allowed the difficulty to really go up in not a way that was completely going to alienate and make it tedious where you're constantly regearing and everything. Mm-hmm. That allowed people to go and go and go again. And so instead, what you've got is this really positive loop of, it might have took me 60 attempts, but damn, do people feel really good when they finally get over the hurdle. So amazing to see, amazing to try different combat mechanics, amazing to try something different cinematic-wise. And
time for Bronzeman, let's go, John.
Brilliant to get to the finale of such a long-standing storyline in the game. So really proud of the team and happy that we've got it out now.
You should be really proud of the team because they have done a fantastic job, and I think the community have celebrated as much. I wonder if it would have been different though had the conscious decision to do those changes in regards to the combat side of things hadn't been made. Would people still have found the quest as enjoyable, or would the frustration of like regearing, death fees, and everything else come about to it?
Although, if I did have a Bronzeman, it would be kind of the same thing as my Iron, but I wouldn't have to be spending 4 hours a night requesting on my main to have a main so I could practice Awakened Orbs. I could just buy the Awakened Orbs on my Iron Man. But I've already dropped all of my dupes, which would have given me 1 billion GP on a Bronzeman. So now I wouldn't really have the amount of money that I needed to buy the Awakened Orbs to actually do them on my Bronzeman. So, if you have a Bronzeman, that's like the ultimate one account that you need, because at the end of it, you're just a main. But you earn the right to be a main. So then you don't need a main. Damn. I never thought about it like that. But honestly, guys, I just did Beneath Cursed Sands last night. I finished a Kingdom Divided on my main, and I'm working towards Legends Quest now. And then after that, it's Desert Treasure 2. So I've done most of the stuff I needed on my main already. So now that we have an Iron and almost a main, I don't have the need for a Bronzeman anymore. But I would definitely play hardcore Bronzeman.
Because no one will know this, right? But the boss was actually nerfed 1 to 2 weeks before it launched. Like it's even though it's still a difficult encounter, it was even more difficult before.
How do you like requesting? It's not so bad on the main.
Testing happening internally, different people trying it, people who are less boss inclined,
you just buy everything off the
so
GE and then go run it.
Try to dial it in.
Speed run it.
That is standard for process for these things. We're always tweaking and dialing the balancing and trying to get that right. Like we did the whole team play test, and I think at first we were finding the first fight was almost a much bigger challenge than the second fight with Drakan, and that felt wrong. So like tweaks were made to try and get that feeling a bit better. For instance, personally, honestly, we can talk about
please don't play a hardcore Bronzeman. Why? Guys, Bronzeman is a more entertaining mode for a streamer to play, because now you don't have to watch me running as many birdhouse runs. Like you don't have to watch me doing so many agility laps. You can watch me go try and die. You can do the hard stuff quicker, and like that's more hype.
See, we can talk about the fight, but like I think my favorite section of the quest is the castle puzzle stuff.
Castle puzzle, yeah.
You know, it just fit the map and everything, the types of puzzle. Like it's such a clear inspiration from Resident Evil, and I love seeing that come to life in old school, and I loved playing it. Like when we're doing our playtest, we didn't have the benefit.
We loved your birdhouse
like
runs.
Doing that without a guide.
You guys are capping.
So fun and so immersive.
Good. I've heard very similar stories as well from commentary around from the players. And speaking of things that are super cool, like Vampirium itself is an awesome new area for players to explore. Do you think there'll ever be a reason for people to revisit it and do maybe deeper exploration than what has been done so far?
Always potential, right? No plans right now, but you know, what we want, and the most important thing right now is that like Maggot King, the hunter activity, which I think the hunter activity has been a little bit slept on. Like we really want to position that as like one of the best AFK methods for hunter, more AFK methods than what the other options. The woodcutting, obviously, the fishing. Like if these things aren't giving you enough reason to go back, like we should absolutely look at making sure that's the case, right? They're the main incentive to do the quest, right? Like, why are you going to do the quest tomorrow? Firstly, I'm going to enjoy it, but second, I want to get to the rewards, right? And the rewards have got to be meaningful enough to justify that. We've made some tweaks, obviously, in the few weeks after launch when it came out, and I think these things are all in a pretty darn healthy place at the minute, it seems.
Okay, good. Well, let's look at things a little bit less red and more green then. What about the Fractured Archive? One of the most anticipated updates coming out, the new raid. How are you feeling about how it's all shaping up so far?
Really, really pleased. So obviously the big public pieces we've been doing about the rewards, right? And that conversation's moved along really, really well.
Fred.
Like, I think everyone's over the moon, really. I'm over the moon of how the rewards have gone. We know they're going to be one of the trickiest conversations to have in the run up to any raid. And we left it a little bit later this time. I think the Tombs of a Mascot, we had the conversations much earlier than we did this time. And I think that's, you know, there's pros and cons to doing it late or early. But
my only worry with Bronzeman is maybe people don't quit at CG, but they still quit a few months later anyways. It just makes them quit a little bit longer. That is true. Jamie, people can figure out quicker maybe if the game is not for them. But people won't quit at Zaryu's level. Like Zaryu wouldn't have quit if he was on a Bronzeman. He would have played a little bit longer. Because he had like a struggle with like getting supplies so that he could come play with us. But a lot of people will still quit at Shobek's point, where he realized the game is just a bunch of grinds and it's not for him. So Bronzeman doesn't solve that. It solves like the person like Zaryu. It helps that kind of person. So you got to think about it that way.
I think it helped us to come out with more refined,
it doesn't solve everything,
well-developed concepts and ideas this time, and seemingly went quite well. Obviously, most nervous about the mega rare and getting that right. There's been lots of different ideas. This one's going to
win, by the way. Titanic Breaker. This one had the most votes, and that's one I voted for. Why are people so upset about adding a mode that has zero effect on how they play the game? It's mainly just Iron Man, bro. We have a lot of Iron Man in the chat because I play Iron Man, but Iron Men are very toxic. They have a lot of elitism, and ultimately, it's not great for the game. And there's no repercussions for Iron Man bullying other accounts and stuff like Green Helms. But rightfully so, some Green Helms do cheat. But no, you can't cheat Bronzeman. Like, you can't really cheat it. You had to earn the item yourself. Everything else is meant. The game is, I mean, there's ways to get things a little bit quicker. But that's what the game mode is. You're not worried about cheating the things that don't matter that much. Like, the reason you're playing Bronzeman is to get Sarah Brews and buy them off the auction house, the Grand Exchange. Like we're not worried about that with bronze. We're worried about like, are you wearing items that you got the drop for that you farmed? That's the only thing you're worried about with Bronzeman. Nothing else really matters.
We've also struggled with the big problem of like, do you one day usurp the T-bow? Do you one day completely usurp the scythe? Like, can we be playing old school RuneScape in 2045 and still thinking the T-bow needs to have its top end niche?
Yeah.
When you talk at that time scale, the answer seems to be obviously, well, it might have its position in the journey, but it can't be the best in slots still in 2045. That's a long time. And we're not necessarily thinking at those time scales. But if the answer to that is the T-bow shouldn't be the best by 2045, at some point you have to usurp it.
It does.
The question then is when and how.
I mean, it's been nearly 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And so, like, obviously we're not usurping it. And I think actually, like, the new mega rare slots in really quite nicely alongside the current ones. But these are the sort of questions we're having to try.
Obligator won? I thought the Titanic won. Did I read that poll wrong? Dang it. The green one won.
Can contend with respect to power creep generally, but
I lost
obviously with a mega rare from a raid, it needs to be best in slot.
My bad.
Top end and have significant staying power like the T-bow has, like the scythe has for the next 10 plus years. Really happy with where we got to. Players, hopefully you're really happy with what we've got as well. And we've been, obviously, I think the latest conversations have been tweaking some of the theming around some of the items, but we're not sat there tweaking stats and balancing so much. So
or having to come up with entirely new rewards. I mean, I think there have been some additions that have been spawned off feedback from players actually, which has been really helpful. But ultimately, I think it was one of the most successful higher end reward polls that we've done. But it didn't come without its challenges. There was an armor set that was offered that is no longer being offered. A conscious choice based on
glad they got rid of
a lot of feedback across the board. How do you feel about armor sets generally when it comes to, let's focus it on raids, right? Do raids need an armor set? Even if they don't, what makes it so difficult to deliver an armor set versus, a standalone mega rare item?
The quantity of rewards is definitely one of the topics related to an armor set, right? Is it 3 pieces? Obviously, it doesn't necessarily have to be 3. It could be more even. They take up a lot of slots on a raid table.
Yeah.
I really thought that the full armor set was a bad idea, but maybe just the helmet would have been a good idea in this hybrid set. There doesn't need to be a full armor set from raids anymore.
Balancing the values against the other items in the table is a whole topic. Armor sets in general, it feels like, well, you got a raid. Every raid so far has come with an armor set. So the default assumption is consistency. And, should it be consistent with all the other raids and have the exact same sort of spread of rewards? The answer is probably doesn't need to, but you can see why we default to include an armor set. And then if not raids, when's the right time to introduce armor sets? Raids are the big headline PVM thing. So naturally, instinct is to include something. But introducing new armor sets is hard because do you just go for flat stats and be the best in any specific thing? Or do you try and go, it's more niche, it's more horizontal in where it's positioned? I think we'll benefit probably from it being just generally less rewards. Okay. Remember good Chambers as Xeric?
Oh boy. I mean, we've taken off quite a lot of rewards from Chambers and it still has got a lot.
Right? Yeah. Your instinct is big PVM, put lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, what you see even with Tombs of Amaska is the more common items, just like the prayer scrolls on Chambers of Xeric, Lightbearer, the Fang originally at Toa, they're price tanks, right? If you're a player who's trying to grind out a shadow, for every shadow you brought into the game, you bring many Lightbearers. Right? Because they're more common. And so you end up with an item like the Lightbearer that there's just a lot more in the economy than there are shadows. And thus, it's price tanks. And so that's an instant challenge we have with every raid or every PVM encounter that drops multiple uniques has this kind of challenge and the trade-off between the different things. So actually, I think we're in a bit healthier place by having less.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we've been saying that for ages.
I actually think that there are some places in the game that have too many items. And I like the idea in the last podcast about reducing the amount of items from pretty much everywhere. Like you can have less items in raids. I think Nex has too many items, like a full armor set and gloves and a weapon and a hilt. Like Nex has too many items. So I think that they could have made another boss encounter, or they could have had Torva in the next raid if it didn't drop from Nex, for example. These bosses can maybe have 2 or 3 items instead, kind of like what the Maggot King is. We have more like Maggot King style bosses, so and you can change up your grinds more instead of having to grind one boss so many times. And I think that would be nice.
as well, right? Is that we don't want the standard, or we don't feel like the standard, should be loads and loads of rewards. And I think that the players are also very much leaning that way too. We had some really good feedback. I liked how with the Fractured Archive, and one of the reasons why it took a little bit longer, despite also waiting for more info and the concepts, was we did do that exercise of, this is where our head's at currently. Do you meet us at that same thought process, or is there more that we need to do here? And I think for the most part, players kind of resonated.
No, you can't change that, Bella.
Said. And outside of numbers alone, armor set, how the hell do you make them match to what people are wearing?
You know what? I have an absolute desire.
That's the thing. Like with the armor sets matching, the meta is like the players create a meta with the armor sets anyway. And right now the meta, like in Tob, has been wearing the Torva helmet with Oathplate chest and legs. So players have already gotten used to the idea of not wearing a matching helmet. And so you can capitalize on that in design by making a helmet in the next raid that maybe is better than Torva. Like people are already used to the idea of not wearing a matching set because of that. So like that's why I said maybe a helmet, Abyss helmet, hybrid helmet or something could be pretty good. Like the idea that they had, but not the full set. The full set kind of was like way too OP.
To get back to the mismatch of stuff.
I would, me too. I would love
like
that.
Torso, D legs.
Yeah.
Like there's something magical about an absolute mismatch. Maybe we should go a little bit away from armor sets, and it's like this content has a new plate body, and it's just a plate body or something. The thing is, like, obviously people also love matching sets, and you know, even when we introduced the Missouri, it was a desire to have a yellow backpack and you know, the same and stuff to match. So people on both sides, I'd love the game that just have both, right? Like ultimately, you know, we've got multiple styles, we've got different niches. Some niches might be more mix and match, some niches might be less so. So
I think as well, now that we're in like a landscape where cosmetic overrides are kind of like seen as more normal. And by that, I mean cosmetic overrides that you're earning from pretty prestigious in-game achievements, right? You got the Blood Torva, Oathplate. Oh my God, I'm going to really embarrass myself
Blood Torva.
now. It is Blood Torva. Yeah. And there's Radiant Oathplate. There we go. I'm getting them unmixed up now. So that we could always explore around where there are mismatched sets and you have a challenge to then make it look like other gear that you might be wearing. That could work.
Yeah, there's always options on the cards for sure.
Yeah. Kieran, thank you so much for all of your time today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I would like to know how you at home watching have found this new format. Do you like it?
Amazing.
Would you prefer that we keep things a little bit more top level? Do you want us to go into even deeper topics of conversation? Please let us know all of the feedback that you have in the comment section. And also, if you could give a thumbs up to the video, it would help us out.
I really enjoyed this one.
Now, before you do leave, just a few things to quickly mention, and that is that our friends over at
25 yams, Gordon?
have got their leagues going on at the moment.
Dude, we got to get into chambers right away.
August. If you haven't already, jump in, go and give it a try, test the waters, see how you get on. They've been going through an amazing road of restoration.
3 Leagues hype.
So please do go check out RuneScape Leagues and see what it's all about. And if RuneScape Leagues wasn't enough, then very soon RuneScape Dragon Wilds will be fully launching. That's coming on the 15th of September, where we'll see RuneScape finally hitting consoles for the first time. It's going to be available on Xbox, PS5, Nintendo Switch 2,
sick,
and of course, PC. There's hundreds of hours.
Bro, World of Warcraft RuneScape looks sick.
Of content available, a brand new story to uncover, and so many experiences and adventures to be had. So do go check out RuneScape Dragon Wilds when it releases on 15th of September.
Damn. All right, guys, there it is. Bronzeman hype, Bronzeman hype. We're voting on it on Friday, and we will see where the cards lie.